script.
There
Okay,
never
so hello
is.
everybody. Hello everybody. No script this time. We're starting out from a very long sleep. We're starting out a new Thirsty Thursday Southeast Asia episode 1. Is it? Okay, so this is me, Davis, and the other guys. And some guys will introduce themselves. Let's start from Setting.
Yeah, my name is Thisty, full-time teacher and educational technology fan. So yeah, no script, so we're just going to have a chat about a couple of things that we can use in class.
Okay, Ralph.
I think Ralph's the quiet type.
Unmute, Ralph.
I think it's gone. In the meantime, I'm James, broadcasting here from the Millennium Hotel.
How about Blair? Blair?
I think Blair's been gone a while.
Can't hear you, Blair. Let's go back to Ralph. Are you? No sound, Ralph. Okay, let's go back to me. My name is Davis again. I'm a full-time teacher, ICT teacher and I'm also a EdTech fanatic, just like Teddy. And who wants to share first?
Well, I'm happy to share first.
James, you go ahead.
Share for today is, we all know Google Sheets, and one of the most popular add-ons has been Flubaroo. Flubaroo recently is feeling a bit unloved. Google Forms quizzing function, but this morning they've come back for badges. They have decided that they're going to put in their own stickers and badges, and from what I've seen, it looks really incredibly easy to use, and I think that makes a great first step into full gamification without doing all the hard programming that I've had to do. Brilliant new invention, and I highly recommend you get into Flubaroo, have a look at it, and see if it can help you with your sticker situation.
Great. How about Setting?
Back to you, Davis.
You have anything to say about the badges?
Yeah, I think as we've mentioned before we went live, I think building it up slowly and having Flubaroo, allowing you to have that badge system will definitely, make things a whole lot easier. Another thing I'm really excited about is the new Google Sites and the way that you can easily embed things that are already in your drive, so you can have your badges pre-made, embedded as an image, link that image to a Google form that students fill out, so you can have your badge displayed on a simple Google Sites. Again, no HTML required, simple drag and drop, real time saver for teachers. Have the image of the badge. Below that, a link to the form. Why do you deserve this badge? They click on the link, get sent to the form, and they can now upload a file, sort of to prove why they've earned that badge. So I think everything's really coming together now. We've got file upload, we've got the new Google Sites. I think combining those, I think gamification, and then again, the Flubaroo, which I did not know about before, I think, that creates an environment for real gamification. So I'm actually really excited about that.
Anybody else wants to add on to that?
I am happy to say that I can unmute my microphone now and introduce myself, if I may.
Okay, yes, please do.
Okay. Sorry, I was stuck. I was tapped, my memory ran low, and then I was completely frozen. So I'm Ralph, speaking out of Bangkok. I'm teaching at Wat Nai Rong School as ICT teacher there, and I'm very happy that we do this Thursday again after a very long break. And yeah, I like that no script policy today, and enjoy it so far. And about gamification, I'm better a listener because I don't have too much experience. I have much stuff done with gaming, but pedagogically and rubrically, I haven't experienced much.
How about Blair? Any thing to add to that, or any questions to what James has said, Seti and Ralph? Oh. Blair? Oh no. Let me just unmute you. Uh-huh. No. Yeah, Blair, we can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Now, eh?
Oh yeah.
Wes, hi Wes. Yes, we say hello to you
Wes?
live.
Hear me okay?
Yep. Anything to add to that, Wes? About gamification? Okay. Wes? You still there? Okay, well, we're waiting for Wes. Anybody else wants to share something?
Should I
Seti?
go
Seti?
ahead and
Or Ralph, yeah?
show my
Yeah,
little gadget? Seti,
okay.
you go first or I go first?
Yeah, no, I was literally just going to chip in because while we were waiting in this little bit, I was just having a play around with what I just said about the whole new Google Sites and the integration with file uploads and badges. And I've literally, in a matter of 3 minutes, made a little site. So that really shows you how easy it is for teachers. So I don't know if I want to do a quick screen share here. And I can show
Go ahead.
everyone. Hold on, let me just quickly do a screen share. Okay, you should see my screen now. Does everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I've basically literally just gone into my drive, click on new,
That was
more,
quick.
new, more, Google Sites. Okay, pulls up Google Sites, very simple. It's drag and drop system, title it year 3 badges, and then literally, let me just get rid of these so you can see just how quick it is. Let's get rid of this badge. Let's just delete that. Now, simple, insert, from Drive, click on that, you select your badge. Again, this badge made in Google Draw, very simple with your shapes and everything. You can create your own badges. Done. Now, pull up the form. Form is called Badge 1. I've got the form here. Simple question. Please submit your file. You can add a description which says, why do you feel that you've deserved or earned this badge and, so on. Please submit your file upload, limited to 10 megabytes, a maximum number of 1. Done. That side of it is done. Back to the Google Sites. Double click on the forms. And because it's Google Sites, it's really, really easy to resize things. And you can just drag it, drop it. It snaps into place. And you've got a beautiful site. Let's just have a quick look at the preview. There you go. Year 3 badges. You scroll down. You've got your first Google Draw. Here they submit the file. And then you as a teacher, you can decide, do I award this child with that badge? Yes or no. Students have a nice overview of all the available badges they can earn. Again, this was done in literally 2 or 3 minutes. If you spend a little bit more time, then you can
What's the
actually create.
difference for the student to earn the badge or just download it and?
Well, that's where then you can sort of have that. You can have it displayed on a website that you are in charge of. You can have your top 10, displayed somewhere. You can have them in class, but you would then look at their file. This could be homework as well. They send file in. You look at the homework. Do you like it? You award them a badge. You can do that physically in class. You can award it on a class website. You can award it on your online platform of choice, really. So that is really, I think, it just shows you that how all these things are now coming together, the Google Sites, the file upload, and everything. And that literally took me 2 minutes. So I think for teachers,
the Google Sites, they waited a very, very long time to release that.
and
But,
I mean,
I
there's
must
a
say,
lot that's no longer.
I'm sorry if I'm rude and talk over you, but we have a lag here a bit, yeah?
Nah, no problem.
What I have read up on is that it is still not possible to connect any domain to it yet.
Not yet. But it's literally just playing around with sites now. I mean, I'm hoping by next term, really, we can start having, sites and things like that, fully connected. But for now, I mean, the potential is there. There's a lot you can no longer do with Google Sites, but they've simplified it. They've just created the perfect platform for students to create portfolios, and now it's up to us as teachers to use it for those, out of the box thinking moments. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Yo,
Hey, Wes.
And welcome back, Wes.
But I'm sure it was awesome. Do you mind if we just jump back a second to something I heard earlier?
Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
I heard you talking about the new Google Sites, and you were talking about badges for that and how quickly it was easy to do something. I just want to add to that, man. Like, a lot of people are saying the new Google Sites has like very limited amount of features, and they say it sucks. Like the old Sites was hard to use but had lots of features, but actually, I think like this new Sites is actually quite brilliant in a way.
Yeah.
Because it's simple. It's easy.
I was just gonna say, if I and that's where I agree. Like the people that are sort of saying, "Oh, I missed the HTML, I missed the," no problem. You can use Blogger as your platform. Go to Blogger. Upload your own custom template. Play around with the HTML all you want. You have that. Sites, it wasn't really being used apart from sort of the techie people. And I think with this,
they will modify a lot, and
yeah, but also now they've actually made it. They've made it available to sort of your everyday teachers, students.
And I think that's the brilliance.
A techie. You can just easily drag and drop. It doesn't get easier than that.
Drag
can
around.
you confirm that in all Google App Domain it is out? I'm not sure. I checked last week. Maybe they rolled it out in a few days.
So it was basically, our domain is set to
early adopters.
No. So it's already past early adopter. I think next week is going on to schedule release, but now it's on rapid release.
Sites, and when you go to normal sites, it might even tell you like right underneath it. It's like,
so if your domain is set, if your domain is set to rapid release, then you have it.
You
go in your Drive, and you click on New Google Sites. If you're scheduled release, you'll have to wait a bit, but you can change that. If you're the admin of your domain, you just change it to rapid release, and you've got it.
You could do it in your personal account or whatever. Like it's a similar feeling I had when the Google Classroom came out. When Google Classroom came out, I was like, these are the only features it has. I was really not that excited. I was like, I could do all of these things in Drive already. But then I realized the brilliance of it. It made it accessible to all teachers.
Because you said Google Classroom and private accounts, I have come across a form where private accounts can now request to have access to Google Classroom. So what I can deduce from that form being up there is that Google will at some point make it available for private accounts, which will be awesome, because then you could probably invite just normal email addresses.
That'd be sexy. because then you could run an online platform, like you could run online classrooms, and
I think they'll tweak it. I mean, again, they're probably going to rebrand it, give it some, it's a bit like Cast, how they've now got, Cast for education.
Yeah, but that
I think they're really sort of trying, first they developed their whole platform, okay, they've got all these things that sort of replace what other people were using. Then they introduced new concepts like the collaboration and sort of the real-time editing. Okay, others started copying that. Now we're in that third step where they're actually purpose-built products for education. And I think that's where we're at now, where they're actually looking and seeing, okay, this is what schools are going to use. This is what teachers are going to use. Let's do that. So they've gotten rid of the complex sites, making the new simple one that's actually usable for education. They already had Google Cast. Now they have Cast for Education, where you just cast your screen to all the devices in the classroom.
Expeditions is for education. Cardboard
Expeditions,
is for education.
Cardboard. So I think they're really sort of trying to, identify their targets. Again, the rebranding. Again, G Suite. It's a suite of products. And okay, I don't like the name, but that's just, I don't like the name.
I think we get used
it makes sense.
It's
it
weird
makes
how
sense.
to abbreviate it. I don't know how to abbreviate it anymore. We can't say.
I think just G Suites. I think literally just G Suites for education. I think that's what they want.
G Suite for education compared to Gaphy is.
I know, but I think they probably didn't like the whole Gaphy thing. They're looking for that, that brand name,
I can still remember the first time.
I mean, how many people on the street walk around with an Android tablet and call it an iPad just because that name iPad sticks, it sticks with people.
I hate that.
Yeah, but it's all.
I just want to tell the short anecdote of when I first saw on our school's own website that Davis had made a section with Gaphy. I really literally asked him, Davis, you made a typo there. You wanted to spell cafe. And yeah, that was how naive I was in the beginning about Gaphy.
I think that's where G Suite, if they use it for everything, G Suite for business, G Suite for education, I think G Suite will stick to you. And people will say, oh yeah, that's what they're talking about. Because how many people do you know call, Google Drive, Google Sheets, Google Slides, and just say, oh, Google Docs?
Hey, it's
more than Docs.
My little thing in of today. I have a little visual gadget for you guys, and after that I will show you an Easter egg I found, and I actually was too scared to Google if anybody else had found it before. I want to kind of believe that I'm the one who found it. So can you quickly confirm that you can see my screen?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yep.
Okay, I hope that my memory doesn't go down the drain. So this is a website called a Chrome experiment called Weave Silk, and despite the nice little gadget tree, you can introduce it. There's a very in class you have to set up something, or you need to some other students are already their work, so you can give them a little time to play with. So you can mix colors in the left corner, and it looks a bit silky, and you can have hours of fun. And if you look for Weave Silk online, what people have really made paintings and stuff. So a share button here, which lets you save the picture. And
did he go out?
I think he's gone.
Yeah, he's a little bit lagging there. I like looking at his screen though, and the color wheel. That's pretty cool. What is he actually doing there? What program is that?
It's a Chrome experiment.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with all the GDocs and the lingo and whatever. You know, it's like whatever the community is into. You know, like you want to get your community into whatever the lingo is, I guess. You get into to me though, at my school, you know, it just goes into beyond that to try and start thinking about teachers not just using all these different tools as substitution all the time. It's happening constantly. You know, like you want to start like throwing in the lingo of pedagogy. You know, like it's not about using Google Docs. It's about blended learning. It's about,
well, that's the thing. It's sort of,
so
they're at that next step now. I feel that actually, you know, it's using the right tool for the right thing. You know, sometimes pen and paper is better.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's what a lot of people also forget. They sort of, you know, they rush into things. No, well, the right tool for the right thing.
Yeah, and it's actually more of a conversation these days than ever, because I think we got about a solid 7, where we got 7-8 years really people using Google Drive really heavily, and you have a lot of people going pretty crazy with it, like sending out a Google form just for a question that they could really just say like raise your hands. And
yeah, see, that's where, yeah. That's where they're taking it too far, you know.
Yeah, and there's that healthy mix, right? There's that balance, and yeah,
well, that's
I
the
think,
thing. That's where I think when you have these tools that are actually specifically designed for education, and like for instance Google, like Cast for Education. Okay, you have your lesson, it is going on, and at some point you do want to project something, and you do not have a big projector, or you want everyone to have a hands-on. That's when you use it. No, you don't use it all the time, because then you just got students staring at their devices.
yeah,
You use it for that, and that's where it's important that you have teachers using the tools and not the tools, you know, sort of using your teachers almost, because you need to, first of all, you need to be an educator first, and you need to plan your lesson and say, is this what I need to use now, or can I do it in any other way, and which way is going to have, you know, sort of most learning happening, because that's what it's all about. It's about your students learning. It's not about you really. Okay, you're just, you know, you want your students to learn. You don't want to be sort of, you know, oh, look at me, look at what I'm doing. Oh, look at these cool tools. Wow, look at that computer behind me. You know, no. You know, are they learning? Are they collaborating? Are they, you know, are they progressing? Yes. Well, then you're doing the right thing. If not, then sorry, you're not doing the right thing if they're not, you know, making any. So yeah, I think that's what I think. But yeah, I think Ralph is back. Ralph, do you want to try again?
How much did you get from it?
Nothing.
Nothing. I'm not sure if I...
we saw lots of pretty colors, but yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah. Did you hear what I said, or? So I am aware that it is not a very educative tool or something. What I like about it, that students really get very fascinated what it does and how it works. And maybe what I want to underline is that there are many students out there who, with the traditional art forms, drawing or painting with colors, feel a bit put down or not good enough. But with that, nearly anything you just do looks nice. So that is what I want to give my students in that moment, that they can playfully see how they can create something beautiful. And I believe that most of the Chrome experiments have up some repositories where you can copy code or things to integrate functionality like that on your web page. So I haven't looked too much into it, so I'm not sure if you can take all the Chrome experiments back ends or code, but there are so many great things to get inspired where the next web can or will take us. So I don't want to risk showing you the nice colors again and freezing up again. The other thing, if I can quickly just share my screen, is just an Easter egg which I showed already before, and that is a great way to get for sure your attention at any presentation that is available on Chromebooks only. That's why you have to buy a Chromebook. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
You hold down Control, Alt, and Shift, all the 3 buttons, and press the reload button, and then the active window spins. And for sure, everybody will look to the presentation when something is spinning out there. So that was my Easter egg. And yeah, thank you. Thursday, no slam, but anyhow, I say it.
No, it's been good conversation. The parts that I got out of it.
Was I interrupted again?
No, it's good. So as I came in kind of late here, the main theme of tonight was gamification, correct?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, that's how it
We
started.
start that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I am interested in more of trying to, integrate some of those ideas into some of the new ideas of like, Google Sites and stuff. So it's pretty interesting what Sethi was talking about. I haven't been really working on a lot of gamification these days with teachers at my school. But one thing I would like to share, I can take a couple minutes here, is it's nothing fancy. It actually has nothing to do with technology, but I think it's kind of innovative. It's been around for like maybe decades, but it's really been focused in elementary school. We're trying to bring it into the middle school. Is these things like reading, writing workshops, and the idea of like I just kind of want to ask you guys. You guys turn off your mics because I'm interested in hearing what you guys have to say. At your schools, do you guys have language arts teachers, like English teachers, teaching literature? And is everybody reading the same book? Like everyone's going to read Macbeth, or everyone's going to read like To Kill a Mockingbird? Is that kind of a common trend at your schools?
I think in my school, I think we have that. They're like reading the same kind of books, and we have this thing. I don't know. I think it's quite popular as well in other schools. They have a dear time. Everything in reading. So we have got a 30-minute like a break wherein students would drop whatever they're doing and they grab a book and read the book.
Like all the same book or different books, like the choice or
different, during your time it's like different books books that they're interested in reading.
Yeah. I mean, like normal language arts teachers, like they want to teach about conflict. They want to teach about conflict resolution. They want to talk about like character development. They want to talk about themes. They want to talk about like setting and as they're reading books. And what usually happens is, was I've seen in the past is, let's all read To Kill a Mockingbird and let's talk about like, the themes and how this relates to history and how can we like talk about this, right? Or like,
I think this is where really you're looking at sort of a whole school philosophy. Like, for instance, at our school, I mean, reading is huge. I mean, it is every year group all the way down, reading. Now, that does mean that you need to have well-read teachers.
Yeah.
In other words, you need teachers that are actually committed. To give you an example, our year 6 teacher, he reads, and 1 or 2 books a week, and that's what he does. So they have these huge banks of really great books. That's one. 2, once you have these teachers that are well read and have this bank of literature and books that they know of, they can set these books in class and they can say, look, these are all the different levels. You know, you're within these, you know, you can choose out of these 13 books, you can choose out of these 12 books, you can choose out of these 16 books. Those are the individual books that all the students are reading, and you keep promoting reading. However, alongside that, you still have a class book, and you might go through 4 or 5 class books a school year because you have different topics. If your first topic is, you know, on ancient Rome, well, you might read the Iliad, or you might read, you know, anything really, you know, Odyssey or whatever, at an age-appropriate level for sort of your class.
Right.
Again, having a well-read teacher means that he's already gone through the book. He's already looked at the different topics of discussion. He's already looked at the different, you know, new vocabulary, and then that is being used in class. So it's sort of, I think it's more of a creating a culture of reading, and everything is linked to that. So that instead of going with sort of preset, here are the year 5, you know, here are the vocabulary lists, and these are the words you need to learn in year 5. No, get challenging vocabulary out of the literature. Get it out of the books they're reading. Now, the only way you're going to do that is if you have a teacher who's actually read the books.
Well,
far too often.
That's the kind of change thinking I've been trying to work out on myself, and I've had some soul searching regarding that. Because I've been working with some teachers, and what we've been working on is these workshop models, which are saying like, okay, so let's not do the whole year any class books at all. What we're going to do is we're going to go to the library, and everyone's going to grab a book, and then we're going to get back to the classroom, and we're going to talk about theming, and we're going to.
But we still have that as well. So you have that alongside your sort of class books
with any book, right? So that the teacher actually doesn't have to know the book, but they have to know literature. So when you have a meeting with a student and you talk about, so what book are you reading? And you ask them, what's the conflict? And then they might tell you, well, the conflict between the character and maybe this other character. And then you say, well, what's the conflict? And you can say like, well, show me some examples of that. So every single student can actually learn the same idea from literature.
Absolutely, and that I think that's why I say it has to be a whole school philosophy, because that's where sort of your other, I mean, really that comes down to your timetable. Are you given the time to do that? Because when I look at, for instance, when I look at my timetable, there is time to do that. So you might have, yes, you have a class book, but you still have library sessions. You still have sort of, you know, individual reading sessions. You still have, if you have, you know, a school philosophy that is really, you know, that's pushing the reading, then you can do that. So they still have their individual path that they're on, and then your class book is not necessarily used to teach literature. You're teaching other things through reading. The same way that, for instance, going back to educational tools, you might use Google Docs, but it's not to teach them about technology, it's to do other things. And then the same way you would use a book. So you, for instance, you're reading a book about something, but you're not going to discuss any of the, you know, the things that you've talked about, sort of the conflict. And no, you're looking at other things within that book.
Yeah, I mean,
you're linking it to other subjects. You're linking it to your geography subjects. You're linking it to your technology. You're linking it to, you have this whole integrated form of teaching. But again, that's different. You know, it's different schools, different systems, different curriculums. It's different across, you know, all over the world. And I think that's where that school philosophy really comes in.
Yeah, I think it does have to do with school philosophy, and then like, I think the philosophy I'm trying to get at is like no class books. Don't force everyone to read the same book. Allow them to choose any book.
Yeah, but see, we don't have that. We read that is being read together. So our philosophy is, for instance, if you want to create avid readers, they need to be read to, no matter what age they are. Why do you think audiobooks are so successful? Because people like to listen. They enjoy that. So our class book is not a book set to the students. It is it's being read together. The teacher reads it.
Because this is the model that's being flipped right now, or the thing that I've been thinking about recently is that, okay, so if we read a class book together, where we're trying to focus on some themes, or we're trying to focus on some type of literature element. It's the teacher knows the answer. Of like what the motivation of the character is. The teacher understands what the deeper meaning is. And then they're trying to ask around the room, so let's have a class discussion about this same book that we're all reading. But the teacher knows the answer. So if everyone's reading a different book, can you still do it? And I think the answer is yes.
Yeah, you can. You
have
can.
a conversation about, so what's the motivation of the character? And then when during the class discussion, you might not be all talking about the same character, but you're talking about where it happens in the book. And then one person raises their hand and they say, well, the character development in my book, and then it's personalized because they're talking about.
No, absolutely, but I think that is again, I think it's very different skills.
There's this complex thinking going on.
Yeah, no, and I absolutely agree with you. That needs to happen. However, they're very different skills. In terms of, if you have a group discussion, there's much more to it, as well as it's more about the enjoyment of stories. So for instance, like, your teacher would read, it is not, let's all open the book, and no, they don't even see the book. There's one copy of the book, the teacher reads it. It's about listening, about creating that sense of, wonder and the imagination, and because it's so important. So many of our kids don't hear stories, and even though they still have their individual books, yeah, great, and they're doing that in their own, because they have allocated slots that they can do that, but they need to be read to. It's so, again, it's that modeling, and yes, please flip that model around as well, but they have to still hear it, see it, and they love it. Because I think very often we forget, like even like 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, like, oh, they're too old. They're still kids. They love it. Look at the success of Audible. I mean, these are, people still like that. So then why are we trying to sort of limit that and say, no, you have to grow up, and now we're going to, you are only going to discuss this not for the enjoyment. This is all about learning. No, there's enjoyment as well. They need to see that reading is fun and can be fun. And I think that's where it's two very different skills. So I agree with you 100%. Yes, they all have their own books, and you discuss sort of the real concepts that you're trying to teach.
Yeah.
And I think it's sort of, I think what we're talking about is the place of that class book. I don't think the class book should be your guide to teaching, but I think it should still be there as a form of enjoyment rather than.
Let's go backwards a little bit. Like we're a lot of classrooms. I mean, like when I was in school in the 80s and 90s and stuff, and I just felt like when I was in that era, there wasn't the thinking that me and you are having right now, right? Not any of this deep level thinking. So a lot of the thinking that I remember I went through was like all the reading that happened was, okay, so for these next 8 weeks, we're all reading this book.
And that's what I grew up with, and that's awful. That is terrible.
Book, I started to ask, like, so what's next? And then we'd all go check out all the same next book. And so, like, we were always reading the same book. And it wasn't personalized in the fact that, like, I could come up with an idea that was different from somebody else's, because if I came up with an idea, it should be the right answer because we're all reading the same book.
Yeah, see, and that's so wrong. That's just limiting your students.
So there's been some real soul searching, though, about, like, okay, so what is the efficiency of that? What is what do we get out of that? What's the learning intention? But, like, how can we create better and stronger learning intentions if we personalize reading, but then at the same time learn the same standard through different literatures?
No, and that I agree with you 100%. And that's where I think really you need to get your management on board. First of all, you need to get your timetable in order so that you are actually allowed to do that. Because I think too often timetables limit teachers to sort of what they want to do.
Like, how would a timetable be different in
well, you need, like, for instance, you have all your English slots, you have English, but you also, I think too many schools leave out sort of a library session slot. That's complete, you still need that. Doesn't matter that the kids are 10, 11, 12. They, a full-on library session slot. Then you have your free reading slot where they're each reading their own books, and then you discuss those. So I think that's really, it's allowing for this integrated teaching to happen. Because too many teachers are, they're stuck. They're literally, oh, no, but, 9 to 10, I have to teach this. 10 to 11, I have to do this. No, you don't. If you allow them to sort of have these overlaps and move it around, and as long as you make sure that there is, coverage, and that, your students are learning and that the attainment is there, then that should be allowed.
I don't know where like your schools are going these days, but like I think that some allowance starts to happen when you start to change the culture of the school to be standards based. And it's not about content rather than it's about standards. And sometimes a standard is like students will understand diverse perspectives within literature. And then it doesn't matter. That the standard doesn't say you have to learn diverse perspectives.
Well, that's the thing. Like curriculums can be great, but they can also be limited. So I mean, personally, I've worked with like 5 different curriculums now, including the ones that we had in back home in Belgium, and then the old national curriculum, and then the new one. And I think standards can be both, a help, but they can also limit you. And I think what you're saying, I couldn't agree more. I think standards are important, yes, but they shouldn't be too specific, because if they are too specific,
well, then it's ruined. Like they can't be
Yes.
specific. They
Exactly. You're limiting it.
have to allow choice and voice and
There you go.
But I'll tell
I
you,
think that's the important thing.
we were
Choice.
more specific back in the day.
Oh,
So
they
I
were.
think there's a lot of teachers that have been teaching for a long time, and they're used to specific standards. They're like the
Yeah,
content.
but it's easy. But
But
that's because it's
content-
easier for them. I mean,
The
when you
skills
look at
learnings-
when you look at the teachers we had when we were growing up, our teachers, they all had the same specific standards, used the same books week after week after week. They had the same planning year after year. So, that's what we grew up with. And sorry, but that is limiting. That is extremely limiting. All learning should be differentiated. All learning should be open, and it should be sort of this movement, like it's not just, you do number 1, then you do number 2, then you do number 3. Okay, you're now ready for year 2. Okay, you do number 4, 5, 6. Okay, you can now go to year 4. I mean, that's what we grew up with, and it's not working. And too often, teachers that have used that older system for so many years, they're a bit stuck, because that's how we've always done it.
Test,
And
hello.
Yeah, we can hear you, Ralph.
Can I say something? I tried to say something for the last.
Yeah. Go, join.
I'm really struggling with something here at my end, but I'm very happy that you're floating high, and that's great, and I learn from it and I get inspired from it. But reading, young people in Thailand, in Bangkok, not international school people. Nah, guys, be realistic.
Okay.
I want to ask you: Is there? You are so open as a teacher. So, Seti, is there a student we can work with who doesn't have to read anymore?
What do you mean?
And just watch videos?
Yeah, watch videos. Khan Academy is very great. You don't have to read anything, and can learn.
No, that's
Very high level. So
very different skills, and also very different concepts.
If I still try to get my foot down that in our school, and we are a bit better than many government schools, but there's still very, very interest to reading in the broad mass, and
not people. There, Ralph, I'd say you've got that cultural difference. 50, 60 years ago, there were no books in this country we're in. So, I mean, I think there is part of that is cultural.
That's true.
That is why we're having this discussion, because at some point you need to have an educational shift. And books and reading are such an amazing gift that you can give to children. A love of reading is that is such a beautiful thing that you can pass on to children. And yes, I understand where you're coming from, working in a local school with local, but every little bit helps. And if you get your motivated teachers, they can create a shift. They can make that change. It doesn't have to be just the international schools. There is a possibility. And when you look at sort of the explosion, and now I'm just talking about Thailand, the explosion of bookshops, the explosion of sort of books available to Thai students now.
But look what is in the bookshops. If you go to a normal bookshop, not a special one which has English books or something, the normal bookshop has
loads of Thai. There's loads of Thai books.
80% fiction, and then the rest is advice books and how to use my iPhone properly and
not necessarily. Not necessarily. I mean, look at the amount of students that are craving books. I mean, back home, there's no way that you're going to go to a bookshop, take a book, sit down in the middle of the shop and start reading it. In Thailand, that is perfectly acceptable.
But what do they do? They use comic books. Most of the time they read comics book. It is I don't know if you knew, but 2015, I believe, was the year of Bangkok was the world book capital, and it was a bad joke, because I don't know if they paid somebody or. Yes, they have bookshops, but
yes, but look, Ralph, you've got a cultural shift. You've got a cultural change. You cannot force that. Studies have shown
how much time does it need, and how much effort.
It's gonna take more than 50 years, Ralph. It's not gonna happen overnight. But if there's no motivated teachers and they say no reading, then it's gonna take 200 years.
Well,
so it is going to take an extreme.
For sure, I'm not completely unmotivated to teach reading or to motivate them to read, but at some point, I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, and this is where the new generation is so important. If you, as a teacher, if you can motivate 3 children, and they become avid readers, all those 3 children, all the generations after them are going to become avid readers, because it's modeled to them. If you have a house full of books, I can assure you that the children growing up in that house are going to love books. If they are read to, they are going to read themselves. If they have parents that actually make it a point to not play on their iPhones, not be on Facebook, and actually read a story to their children, that's going to make a difference. So it's so much more than just the school. It's so much more than just, it's a cultural shift, and it takes little bits. If that means that it's going to take 3-4 generations, then so be it. But that shift is going to happen. The more you read, and even if you read for pleasure, then your children are going to read for pleasure. However, if all you do is play on your phone and you're on Facebook, then guess what's going to happen with those children? They're going to do the exact same thing. And I think that's where a teacher's job, okay, you don't live with these children full time, but you can model that. And if you make a difference in one child's life, then you've made a difference. Because that one child is then going to affect another child. And those 2 are going to affect the following generation. They'll have friends. Their friends will say, oh, let's go there. Oh, yeah, let me just quickly up. They put the book down. Up. Again, a seed has been planted. And it's that knock-on effect. And I think that we can't lose track of that, especially as educators. It's the long-term goals, not just the short, I've got to get this done by the end of the school year. No, if I see a child that I had in my class for 1 year, in 5 or 7 years, and they do something amazing, I'm proud of that child. And I know that there's a 99.9% chance that has nothing to do with me. But I'm still proud of that child. And I think that's what we're going for. Does anyone else want to chip in?
I just think that regarding reading, I don't think that schools always are the reasons why readers love reading, and I've been having some deep thoughts similar to you, Sethi, about how can we change some models, maybe mix models, so that we can develop passionate readers, and not just passionate readers sometimes, but like complex thinkers about what they're reading, and understanding authors, maybe even become an author themselves, and see what it means to write great stuff. I don't think that we're there yet. I don't think that we have a cultures like we were talking about before that are really now. I don't know. But I bet you have seen some teachers though. Maybe you've had some in your school. I bet you've seen some that are really inspiring some kids about reading, about choosing books that are right for them, about discussing them in ways that are meaningful to them and not the teacher. Because like you mentioned something earlier. You said it's not about us. It's not about the teacher, right? It's about the kids, right? It's not about how we made this cool thing. It's about how did the kid have a cool feeling about the thing he's reading or whatever, you know? So I don't know. Like I started this up about talking about reading and writing workshops and stuff because it's been on my mind a lot lately, you know, like growing beyond technology, holding a book, you know, what does it mean? I picked up this book in the library that's over here the other day, and I started reading. I couldn't stop reading, and I don't know. I went to and I was chatting with one of the teachers about it, and she was trying to challenge me about what I thought about the book, and it really stuck with me because she hadn't read the book, but she was able to get me to think complex about the book and about the characters without reading the book. So it gets me to think about how can we try to start thinking about working with kids as teachers on the books that they're reading, to think about them in complex ways without just having everyone read the same book because the teacher only understands that one book. It's not about the content, it's about the idea of reading and what it means to us.
The mental process of understanding what's going on and what it does with your emotions and your own perception of the character.
It comes back to how we feel. You remember it, right? I remember how
feeling in Asia is a difficult talk about. You know?
Yeah. To be honest, I got frustrated with the teacher that was challenging me about the book I was reading because she was saying she was talking about all these things. I can't even recall it, but she actually got me frustrated because I was like, I don't know the answers, you know. That's
good. That's because you were asked the right. That's because she was asking the right questions.
I'll find that quote.
That's because she was asking the right questions. She was getting you to think about the book.
It made me feel it, right? And I don't know. How can we get that more going on, right? Like.
So what book was it? Sorry, I didn't catch that. If you said.
Oh, this is not a good book. I mean, I don't know if it's called Dead End in Norvell.
That's a storybook, yeah, a novel.
Dead End in Norvell. It's about a boy, and he keeps on getting in trouble with his parents, and I think it's funny because he's and then he meets this old lady, and the old lady has a lot of stories about people that have passed recently. And,
very rejuvenating.
But then the dead people's stories. So you're hearing about life stories, then the boy's trying to reflect on what that means to his life. I don't know. You want to get into that? You want to talk about character development?
Yeah, dead people.
Well, anyways, guys, we're still live here.
Yes, we are.
A smorgasbord of us just kind of hang out. I don't know if you guys wanted to.
You know, I had a thought about if we maybe stay on live enough, we get somewhere up in a list and more viewers come popping by just randomly.
We're only talking about the things that we care about. I don't know if we're talking.
We're literally just going live and rambling.
Oh no, I kind of enjoyed.
I don't think anybody's watching.
It's definitely a very different.
And talk to you guys about some personal things if you guys wanted to go offline.
Davis?
I haven't been able to hang out with you guys in forever. Davis, close up this on live thing and let's just do a regular hangout. We can't hear you, Davis.
Well, I gotta say we have to drink something first on a Thursday.
Yep. Here's to Thirsty Thursday.
Yeah, I have Chung as well. See,
It's been going on. It must have been going on for like an hour and a half. There's no way that anybody's watching us right now. It must be impossible. Can we tell if anybody's
Right. I'm actually monitoring on YouTube all the time, and yeah, nobody is watching, but still.
Just turn off the live. I don't want to be recorded anymore. I'd rather just chat with you guys without having to be politically correct. Yo, Davis, I think that your audio's broken.
Yeah, I think you have got a bit of an issue
And
there.
watching, so you should at least see one watching.
Unplug your headphone. No one's watching for sure.
Hello.
Davis,
Yeah, can everybody hear me now? Hear me now?
can you confirm?
Yeah.
Can you confirm that there's only one watching the
Hello?
live stream? The one would be me.
Can you hear me now? No.
Yo, I can
Yeah,
hear.
we can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Please, dear Davis.